What is up, Cowboys Nation? Mike Tag here again. Just hey, before we get going, make sure you guys hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit the share, spread the love to Cowboys Cave because we are continuing to try and bring you guys some great shows. We got some interviews set up. We got some things that are going to be happening during the off season. Of course, we got the draft talk and free agency. The off season is just getting started, so we put everything in the past, and now we got to start looking to the future and how can this team get better. And I think the one thing that they did was solidify their defensive coordinator. It was going back and forth. Obviously, you saw some stuff with Rex Ryan, who, probably wouldn't have been a bad pick, but Mike Zimmer, a guy that's familiar with the Cowboys, he was a coordinator, I think 2000 in the 2000s, 2000, 2006. He was a secondary coach in the mid 90s up into 99 before he got promoted to defensive coordinator. He ran the 4-3, but he also ran the 3-4 under Coach Parcells. So he's been able to do a lot of different things. And listening to the former players who played with him and played for him, nothing but praise, and nothing better from our man Darren Woodson, who really credited him for turning his career into what should be a Hall of Fame career. Let's get all the BS behind us. I don't know how he's still not in the Hall of Fame, but he was one who challenged, Darren Woodson. And Darren Woodson said the one thing that he's gonna do is there's gonna be some toughness. He's gonna show up. You better put your time in. He knows who's putting in the work. Woodson was a believer in her system, and he thinks that he's going to be able to get the job done. It's going to be a toughness and a shock to the system for sure, is what Darren Woodson said. He's going to do it in a way where you're going to have to be tough and show up to practice with a tough mindset. He's going to challenge you, and he is not going to be their friend. And I think maybe Quinn was kind of their buddy, and that's fine. But I think when you're talking about the Cowboys, if you look at the coaches who've been successful, they've had to be tough. The coordinators had to be tough. The head coaches had to be tough. And I think with Mike Zimmer, because you got a culture issue, you got everything going around, you got all these players, hearing the praise, getting the roses every time, they win a game. They're on ESPN, they're on NFL Network 24/7. So those are the kind of things that these players got to kind of overcome. And I think with Mike Zimmer, he's going to bring that toughness. He's going to bring that toughness and accountability. It's something, if you listen to James Washington, two-time Super Bowl champion, who's on our show, if you heard Moose Johnston, you heard anyone who's come in, and Tony Hill, who's been on the show recently, they all talk about accountability to each other, your teammates. James Washington always told the story of he was more worried about what his teammates would say on the plane, what his teammates would say if he come off the field and missed a tackle or give up a big play. That's the accountability that I think this team lacks. You just don't really see it on the sideline. And I think with Coach Zimmer, I think you're gonna get that. I think you're gonna get a lot of that, and it's contagious. And of course they got to bring in some key free agents that fit that, because that's one thing that they're missing. They don't have that on their team. They need to bring those guys in. And if you watch the Super Bowl, you can saw very clearly kind of the differences in our defense to the Chiefs defense to the 49ers defense. You can go back to the Ravens defense, and I would even argue the Lions defense to some extent, because of the type of intensity and the type of, passion they played with. You just didn't really see it. And then when you got, I'm not going to say this is the last time I promise I'm going to say it, but then when you got one of your leaders on your defense talking about tired and, long season and this and that, that don't sit well. It don't sit well. You can see I'm old school, man. I'm wearing the Luke Records 2 Live Crew shirt. So I'm old school mentality, man. That stuff don't fly. And I don't think it flies in this mentality with new school. I think that every guy wants to compete. Every guy wants to be, driven, and every guy wants to be challenged. And I think that's what Mike Zimmer is going to do. They got a press conference tomorrow, Wednesday, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching this on Tuesday, or maybe you're watching it Wednesday morning, they've got a press conference Wednesday. I believe it's 2 p.m. Dallas time. So it's gonna be interesting to see, hear what he has to say, and get this kind of off season started. Free agency is going to be around the corner. Let's see what happens. But just wanted to drop in a quick video. I am excited about Mike Zimmer. I know there's going to be some recycled coaches, recycled this, recycled that. We should have, but let's see how the staff shakes out. I know they were trying to get his D-line coach who was with him in Minnesota, and I guess the Giants declined permission. So that's a little payback because we did the same to Washington. So it's going to be interesting to see how he builds out this staff, and then more importantly, what free agents he brings in. Maybe some guys who he coached at Minnesota or coached in other places that are familiar with his type of system and what he brings, maybe bringing some of those guys in. And you saw Dan Quinn going to Washington. He brings over a former Cowboy, one of our guys, Ken Norton Jr., from those teams in the 90s, who's always been a solid coach. So, you see all the NFC kind of shaking things around. A lot of familiarity. You got Kenny Norton going there. You got Quinn there. You got Kellen Moore hanging out in Philadelphia. So it's going to be an interesting offseason to see how this all plays out, and even better next season. So you guys, appreciate all the support. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit that like, share it, spread the word. We're live 2 days a week minimum. Sometimes we get a little excited. We got to do a little bit more. So make sure you guys check it out. And I'll leave you with this, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon. Where's this at? Where's this new stuff at? We got to figure it out. Take care. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.